So, session 0 with the entanglements. So, let me start off by getting everybody on the sheet here. What is your character's name?
Taranald. Taranld.
Taranld.
I'm sorry, we have a watching.
Taranld.
Spell it again for me.
Taranllyd. Hopefully we have no Welsh viewers. Because it's a Welsh word. I have no idea how to pronounce it.
So it's
Alright.
Terrellin,
Taranld.
Terranell, Terranell, Terranell.
And you, what is your character's name?
Alamar. It's Alamar, and the last name is Stonemore.
Allamar.
Alimar. Alimar.
I'm sorry, L-I.
Stonemore. Alimar. Alamar.
M-O-R-E or M-O-R?
M-O-R. Stonemore.
Okay. These are brand new. What the heck?
Do you need another writing implement?
I think I've got the brand new ones don't work.
And Zach.
All right, it's Jogara. Jogara. Mapletop.
Spell that
Mapletop.
first name for me, please.
JogYra.
Jogara.
Jogara.
Mountaintop.
Mapletop. Mapletopple.
Mapletopple?
Mapletopple.
And
So it's Mepletopple. Mapletopple. Thought we'll call him Meepletopple, but
Oh boy.
It's a strong gnomish name.
Taranld is gonna struggle with that one.
it's a good gnomish name. It took me a while to figure it out.
then
It's like, okay.
Tristan.
Y or T-R-I?
T-R-I. T-R-I-S-T-A-N, and that's Manescu. M-A-N-E-S-C-U.
All right. So, let's also do. Triangle.
So Elamar.
Reba.
Elamore? Is that what you said?
Alamar.
Elamar.
Name or some kind of concept of someone or something important. That's your character. A person or the church or.
I mean, my church is Celine, but I guess silver stars. What's important to me about it?
More like an actual physical object that somebody could know. Like your shop or the church or the person that works in the shop or somebody you know in town.
Well, and yeah, I mean, the shop would be the only way that people would really know me.
The name for that yet, or do you want to?
I haven't really thought of, which it's connected to the, obviously connected to the rectory, like the church in why, but, I haven't really thought of like a specific name. I didn't know if there was something more fitting than other.
Well, for right now, we're just
The name of the town being Y, it could be Wise Herbs and Healing. It has nothing to do with being smart. Or Y Herbs and Healing.
It could be WISE. Wise Herbs and Healing.
Because it's yeah, I think the town is WYE, and that's just funny to make it a
Fun off of that.
yeah,
Go fine. We'll go with
or
that.
just leave it as Y Herbs and Healing, because every time you say it, what do you mean why? Like,
It's gonna turn into who's on first.
Alright, Alamar, someone or something in town that's connected to you or important to you?
I'm gonna say. Who would be important? Well, my parents are well-known stonemasons there, so that's why the last name of Stone. So those are important to me. Those are well-known people in the town.
Could you be a dwarf by chance?
No.
Okay.
That would probably be pretty cool. No, my parents are human. That's pretty well known.
And is your whole family like well-known stonemasons there, or just your parents?
My parents, yes.
Alright.
And I mean, they've come from,
Yeah.
they've worked in that industry, the grandparents, everything else. But
Yogaira?
Jokaira. Somebody in town. A bit of a transient that just came from the Earthspur Mountains. For connection wise, I would think that I would probably know the stonemasons pretty well.
So like the Masons Guild or something like that?
Something like
Does
that.
that make sense?
Yeah, but he's not really a mason, he's a tinkerer.
The Brewers Guild.
The Brewers Guild.
I'm sure that might even be a good angle. They might be, I mean, as far as they're stonemasons, but they might actually have some sway in the Masons Guild and stuff too.
Well, the whole area is big on trade and
So
exchange.
they may be involved in something like that, but that's where the bulk of their money comes from. The detail of
Maybe when they
So you
bring
want
in,
to see Tinker's Guild.
raw supply
Does
or
that make
whatever
more
they
sense?
bring in metals.
Well, I have
true, the byproduct. We're not using this.
Yeah.
a jeweler's kit, which is used for my crafting of little mechanical things or operations, clockworking, and setting stones, stuff like that. So,
So coming into town, you've established relations with the Tinker's Guild or Merchant Guild.
correct.
Do you have a preference on which? Which makes more sense?
Probably a Tinker's Guild would be more appropriate.
These are going to give other ways for people to. These are assets for people to work out how they ran into you and know you were correct.
Okay.
And
I hope that's good. I know I'm really kind of open.
It's perfect. It's a connection. So
Don't know anybody from Illinois.
Oh, that reminds me.
interested.
Thanks for reminding me.
in town that where either you're known or something that's important to you, or you have clout?
Something that's important to me is my mother.
Okay.
Only because she was injured in a circus performance. We were viewing the circus performance, and a magician, it was a traveling circus, magician came out and cast some spells and injured a lot of the crowd. And then they disappeared afterwards.
Right.
Just kidding.
Small.
So I'm trying to, and part of what I saw there was some spirits or something to that supernatural, and I'm investigating what could have happened.
How bustling of a metropolis is our town?
That's part of what you're going to decide. The way Impilter is laid out as a is laid out as a nation is it's wide, sprawling homesteads and small villages and whatnot, punctuated by huge cities. There's not a lot of medium cities or whatnot, or either in the highlands and herding sheep, or in the city and you're part of the trade or you have there's not a lot of medium-sized cities. The exceptions would be where there's mining, and a lot of people have showed up to do the mining and what springs up around there.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, you're looking at villages and hamlets of maybe 200 people, or cities of 20 to 50,000.
Okay.
Y is going to be a city of about 50 to 60,000 people. It's going to be a huge city with multi-story buildings. It's going to have impressive stone parapets and walls and the whole bit.
Okay.
If you don't want to be from that proper, then you can be from a hamlet that's just an hour or two outside and still essentially be from Y.
Mm-hmm.
The suburb.
Yeah, I definitely think that the church would be
Part
more
of
of
the
a
city.
pastoral setting, like outside of
Mm-hmm.
a big metropolis.
And it's all close enough that it's not like you all have to live on one side of the wall or the other. So you can decide whether or not your parents have retired to the country, but they're staying close to commerce, or if they're in the city.
They're active. They're actually still. They're. I'm fairly young. My character's in their 20s, so my parents are probably in their 40s. So they're still active.
And yeah, so and you can live in one and work in the other. It's just it's we'll say an hour and a half, 2 hours ride to get back and forth. Just enough to be considered separate and basically over that hill kind of thing. So you guys can decide that way you have the option of being a little bit urban if you want, or from the rural roots of so most of the activity is likely going to take place in the city of Water, because that's where all of the activity and shipping and everything that's farmed, that's where it's going. All of the cobblers and coopers that are making barrels and all of that stuff, that's where they're taking them. The horses and livestock that get bred, that's where they go to get sold. So there's a lot of activity back and forth. But if you want your curio shop and a small church on the outskirts of that, essentially, one of the things that we'll come up with eventually is a name for that little hamlet that's nearby.
We could call it who?
On the other side of town. When?
Who?
Why not?
What? When?
I'm
Where?
how?
Why?
God, it's good job.
It's in a village called Because. Probably not good.
Why?
So
Let's be my neighbor. I don't know.
is there anything else? Everybody's got one sort of event or connection that people can connect through. Is there anything else anybody wants to throw out that folks can use to connect to their character, like your actual church? It's a small church, and so they don't build huge churches anyway. They're mostly missionary sites. Or anything that you've actually done versus what your parents have done, or maybe friends of your parents that you associate with or don't associate with. A specific shop that you may want to come up with, or somebody who that has been mentoring you, or certain persons coming to town. Any of the guards that you may or may not have a good relationship with from trying to help them do their job compulsively. Is there anything you guys want to add to give folks sort of something else to connect to? Everybody's got one, which is all I need.
Well, most of my stuff is not in town. It's I'm sure I already explained it, but I might as well put it on camera. He's from a gnomish community within a Northern city. So he's very close to his parents because he's the only child. His father was a clockmaker. His mother was an arcane
But that's
person.
back in the Dwarven settlements in the Earthspur, right?
So there's nothing really settling right here. I mean, I could probably, if we're going to do some sort of connection between our person to the left to our right, I think I'd be highly interested, or probably even witnessed your mother's death.
Oh, she's not dead.
Did you did?
Or not dead.
She's
Excuse me.
ill.
Ill.
dead yet.
But I'd probably be very interested in that. Probably discuss arcane stuff with you and finding out what happened
Yeah.
with that. I think that'd be something I'd be fairly interested with.
Okay.
And since it was discussed before, and it's outside of the left and right thing, did you and Reva want to be familiar with each other through the curio shop?
I would like that. I would like that.
Are you both good with it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we have space in the rectory. If that's kind of our church's thing, is we're like totally open and accepting and helping people.
I could actually live in the monastery or whatever and just do tinkering stuff around there as well.
Yeah, 'cause I certainly cannot fix watches and other items, and
I don't know. How do you feel about that?
cannot do any of those things. So that would be kind of a cool happenstance if we were coming along into Y and ran into us looking for a place or looking for
So you're like a
work.
antique dealer? Is that
No,
curio shop?
the stuff that I do within the Church of Saloon is a lot of healing and herbs, divination, astrology, tarot, that kind of stuff.
And I can have a little corner with my little knickknacks I can give the little kids, little wind-up toys or something like that.
Yeah.
So I could know your character by seeking out medicines.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're very the number one thing about the church is how accepting they are of other people and attempting to just provide care and like nurturing in addition to a few other things, but
Yeah, I think my character would be really drawn to
In
that.
addition.
a few other things.
My relationship with Almar. I got it. Yes. With Almar would be basically probably through the guilds, helping with some sort of stonemasonry
Sure.
embellishments.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And then if they have, we would say if there's surplus metalwork or whatever after the stone's been quarried or whatever, if we found anyone that was sold to.
I would have to order a crystal from you, like certain crystals and rocks and
Are you a stonemason yourself?
I've learned a little bit, yes. And then I go and I deliver and run errands and things like that. So
and considering you're a magical figure, I probably would have picked up on that.
sure,
I would imagine. And
yeah,
I'd be very fascinated with you because you're made of magic and you could just automatically do it.
Yeah,
just
no,
do things.
I would be running errands for the family, probably helping deliver carts or goods, that kind of stuff, wherever they might be needed. Taking orders back to them, that kind of thing. So that wouldn't be out of the ordinary.
And you're a tiefling, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious whether or not they have any devil tendencies. I'd be real interested in that too.
Burn them out.
So, do you have any feelings of bloodlust or eating young children or?
So then I've got that for you and Eric. Eric is he sort of works in the curio shop, fixing things that people can bring in or repairing things that might be around the shop, and is currently accepting sort of live-in quarters.
The church is very comfortable, but it's not like an opulent, like.
I think considering we're on my own as a very young, well, 38, but very young gnome, I would probably appreciate any type of living
Like
arrangements.
A couple 100 years, don't they?
Mhm.
And you work with Joe in the shop. All right, so then
No,
let's move to
like I said, I'm very young.
how you know right.
Yeah, gnomes, they tend to
Yes.
Probably
grow up
supplying,
just like adults, like
healing
humans,
herbs.
but they live longer.
Yeah.
We're very female-centered magic and healing and divination in the Church of Sloan, so that would be another. I probably would have come and done some work over your mom to see, how I could better align her energy and whatnot to heal faster, or see what effect it took on her and if it affected her feminine aspects as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be very interested in finding out what injured your mother.
Yeah.
And we'd probably also have very many things to talk about mechanically as well if you are interested in traps and,
Yeah.
and dungeoneering and stuff like that.
I'm not super good at divination yet, but when I get better, maybe I can help solve the mystery. I'm not super good at it.
I'll get you a pendulum.
Yeah, I just do a little bit of everything.
I like the name, the curio shop.
Hmm?
I kind of like the name, the curio shop. It's just
And if that's what has sort of transpired between the two of you, is there any kind of connection that you have toward her? Be thinking on that when I come back, because it's supposed to be a back and forth.
Oh, okay.
And then your connection with Elamar.
would have been just to reach out and source various stones or crystals that wouldn't be local to me, in use of for divination purposes, like crystal gridding and stuff like that.
And I probably would have come by and been like, "Hey, what do you guys teach? What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
I'd be interested.
And I would
So
be absolutely fascinated with being tiefling, because we love everybody
Oddities.
except for some people. And I'm myself not a very common, so I don't have any family. Just the church and Mother Moon.
So what? No human.
yeah, let's
What
go
are
ahead and do that real quick.
Storm Demasi?
Oh, that's right. That is.
For the folks at the table, we'll just start with Reba.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to break it down by class necessarily. You can describe what it is you do, but sort of describe yourself to the world for the other folks at the table.
Okay. So she's about 5 feet. She's a very solidly built, curvy figure for 5 feet. And she's got long, wild hair that appears to have a mind of its own occasionally. My skin is an icy blue. More icy than blue, I guess you'd say. My hair is like a midnight gray, and I have silvery streaks of icy blue in it. And my eyes do constantly shift colors, like storm clouds, kind of shifting from darkest gray to really cold blue. They just do. I'm not quite middle-aged for my race. And as a, I almost said person, I'm not a person. As a being, I'm very transparent. So my emotions and my,
You wear them on your sleeve.
yeah, and my hair and, you know, my hair. So I'm not I'm not an airhead at all, but I do have a lot of wonderment around me, you know, just enjoyment in things, like a very frank kind of open nature. Yeah, I mean, she's definitely intelligent, but not in a not in a cagey or, you know, like hidden sort of way. She's just very open and very frank, sometimes very loud. Yeah, and her moods shift. She can be kind of unpredictable.
Shift with the winds.
Mhm. And I'm hoping the biggest dream ever is to become a silver star. And it's a very long road in the church, but that's there's stars everywhere. I love silver stars. I love moons. So that's all over the place.
Since we started with that warning, also everybody pin on their mics so people can
Oh.
hear you.
F.
Oh.
Well, hopefully everybody caught that. It was beautifully not done.
I know, and I'm used to running tech and
Yeah.
seeing it, and did not. But that's her. I think as a character, she appears really innocent because of like her wonder and like her frankness around her. But she's not. She's pretty observant.
And so, religion.
So yeah, the church. She's a Selunite in the Church of Selûne. The moon and feminine magic. The church is a very beneficial is not the word I'm looking for.
Benevolent.
But yeah, a benevolent church. Unless you're a lycanthrope.
You don't like the shapeshifters?
Just those ones specifically. There are good ones, and we protect those. But there is a great madness and evil in the world, and lycanthropy is connected to that. And the church, that's why we go out in the world, is to ferret out that madness and lycanthropes, and we protect the good-hearted ones, but the evil and the madness, that's a huge focus of our
Stat those out.
It's a well-known religion, and it's respected in Impilter because it's a fairly benevolent religion. So it does not have a huge presence in this area, though, and there's not a lot of large temples or huge followings to them in this area, especially. But it's sort of their usual MO. They're very missionary-like, where they're going out and helping people and being in the world versus building huge monuments. So, and your a very rare form of genasi, you're a storm genasi. Yes. Okay. Which
I'm not aware of because I have no family.
Yeah.
Or so I just am what I am, and
there are many people though that have treated you sort of like a blessed omen with the way Impilter is. You're not viewed with the suspicion of some other races. So you
And I think a
seem to
lot
be
of her-
touched by the divine as how a lot of people can respond to you.
a lot of her behavior would further that, just because being caring and nurturing and being able to notice what people don't say in terms of, you know, are you okay? You know, being very just being very caring. You know, if she sees somebody who, like, hey, who are you? Where are you going? Oh, you're new here? Like, do you have somewhere to stay? You know, or somebody in trouble or hurting or upset, or she wants to attend to those things and be very caring.
Alamar, how do you present to the world?
I am usually lots of robes, lots of clothing, that kind of thing. Even when it's warmer weather outside, usually hooded. I've got glove shoes, everything. It makes life so much easier when you can skirt around and no one questions who you are. I'll come and go, and usually if I'm meeting with other people or whatever, hood comes off, we can talk, whatever. If it's more comfortable, it stays on. But it's usually that kind of interaction. My skin is it's deep purple, green eyes, and just a black hair goes a bit over the shoulders, and horns that come up from the side and kind of come up around the head.
Beautiful.
There's
So pretty.
no, there's an odd, weird, strangely, weirdly handsome. It's weird to put your finger on. It's like, okay, it's kind of strange, but normally, because we're not the best of omens around here, as omens go, or as past history or recent history has gone, I don't like to draw too much attention, because it invites problems. So usually I'm just quick back and forth, want to get my business done, get things taken care of. You'll see me come up, like, deliver the goods, make exchange of, like, papers and documents and things like that. Usually very nice, very friendly.
The rectory and the curio shop, you would be 1,000% welcomed to
Yes.
sit, have a meal, relax, like,
Which is probably
Without-
something which is nice. So
without
yes.
any oddities or questions or nothing. Just
Yes.
You still
absolute-
have some scrutiny that you have to deal with, but
there's some scrutiny because
your
enough.
parents are well known, which means you haven't dealt with a lot of the hassle yourself. growing
no,
up.
but it's odd because my parents are human, so it's strange.
Yeah, but
Um,
the rectory would definitely be.
yes.
And
So,
you know
utterly
you're,
accepting.
You're
Yeah.
you're welcome there, and nobody's ever batted an eye. People have expressed interest in your appearance and everything, but there's never been any kind of scrutiny or negativity
No.
or suspicion or anything
Yeah.
like
And
that.
sometimes it's just nice to not be stared at for a while.
No, exactly right. So usually I feel very comfortable at home. I feel comfortable. Usually I do work out at the quarry if there's something that needs to be delivered or everything like that. I usually don't directly work at the quarry or anything, or I know a bit of the craft, but I'm not as proficient as my parents are, that kind of a thing. So I usually do more booky stuff, running errands, things like that, learning the business part of that trade more than anything else. Yeah, usually, I mean, the only thing that I keep on myself for any kind of protection or anything is this I usually have a metal rod, some crystals on it, that kind of thing. It's usually at my hip. But other than that, no, I keep pretty well
wrapped up, whether it's sunny and nice out or freezing cold. So the whole bit from almost from head to toe. So
Is there any particular way you usually appear the way you dress, or How
my
nicely
robe
you
I also
dress.
like to keep is purple, black and purple.
and how nicely are you typically dressed?
Oh yeah, no, it's I like to present very well as far as nicely pressed and as far as nothing tattered, nothing like that. So, um, well, I'm off doing business and everything else. So, yeah, people can probably spot who I am, but I usually am just darting around doing whatever needs to be done. So,
All right.
yeah.
And Jogra.
Oh, what can I tell you about this little rock gnome here? He's a little tiny, kind of not necessarily scrawny, but of course not very well built either. Kind of a rock gnome. He doesn't have a beard. He's kind of real shaven, clean. His nose is a little bit prominent, but not totally bulging. Still blue eyes. They'll stare right into your soul. His hairstyle, although it's a little bit kind of wavy, just kind of like a wave that goes over. And he's typically very dark brown to almost black hair, but he colors it blue or kind of like a purple. Kind of depends on his mood, what he wants to wear. A little bit of a flighty character in a way, kind of real curious about what's going on in this world. Oh, he can be such a comic relief here. See if I can not nail him. But like I said, just very curious, very probing of what's going on in his situation. He has a certain belief style that it's not unheard of, is that everything is made of magic. It's just a matter of bringing it out. He wears pretty much like a tinker's outfit almost. Although even though he's not dressed well, or his hair is not totally kept, he's very much a perfectionist in everything he does. And if you criticize on his work, he will be quite, I don't want to say aggressive, but defensive. And says, well, it's going to be right the first time, or you can't have it. Type of a thing. So he's a bit of a friendly kind of a guy. I could see him, as he's having a meal or something, jumping on his lap and going, hey, those horns hurt? Do you feel them?
They're getting a headache.
It's that type of thing. Or, he's just kind of like, just real adventurous.
Okay.
Almost to the point of recklessness.
I could see the two of us getting lost because we're like, oh, what is that? And like going
shinies.
to like, oh, that looks really cool.
Shinies.
Keep them on task.
Mhm.
Keep them on task.
And what does this do? It's a red button. Type of thing.
Yeah. Well,
We can't.
why
replace
would somebody
fingers.
put a button here if it wasn't supposed to be used?
Exactly.
It takes work to make a button.
But he's pretty much an open book, and if anybody asks him anything, we just tell him what he thinks.
Alrighty. And Tristan, how do you present to the world of life?
Stands about 6 foot, about a couple 100 pounds, about 180 or so, and long brown hair. Keeps it tied back in a ponytail. Wears leathers.
God, I probably come up to your kneecaps.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm about 3'5".
Oh, okay.
Really tough.
His kneecaps are. I'm like, how tall are you?
There
Probably
might
come
be
to
some
the
waist.
waist.
Yeah.
Waist.
How tall?
Yeah, that's how I present. Just
Oh,
an average looking dude.
You're just shy of 6.
All right.
But
Yeah, I didn't even say that. Just myself is shy of 6. I probably weigh less than you do. Like 160-ish or something.
yeah. Not overly muscular, just averagely built, and can take care of my own.
Cool. Two very short and two average height people. We're supposed to have a fur bulge here too, which would have stood 7 foot something. But that's apparently not going to be part of the party. So,
I stand for pictures.
yeah. Have to keep backing up. Can you lift up the 2 little ones? Maybe that would help me.
Wait, how tall are you?
5 feet.
5 feet? Okay.
5 foot, 6 foot, 3 foot.
You know,
It's like a step
we
ladder.
have the 6-footers and then me and little. I'll probably come up to your here,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know what a foot lower is.
All right. And
Not quite.
you're a fairly regular customer of the Stonemore's quarry or trade, because not everything that they mine locally is going to be what you want. But, and you've probably met Alamar at least in passing, making deliveries and whatnot. And, yeah. All right. So, Alamar, we'll start with yours. Your connection, because it's a two-way thing, your connection with, I'm not going to say her,
Arnold?
Terranild.
My connection that direction would likely be if I have had business with you directly or your church as far as goods and services and such. I'd probably come out your way too saying, hey, someone's been injured on the job, that kind of thing too. We might need something.
Yes.
Or just buying goods to have on hand in case something does happen. That kind of thing. I'd probably make a rest stop out of it and hang out for a little bit while everything else is being loaded up and taken care of, and then we head back. So that would likely be my interaction or my...
Okay. As far as we talked about the fact that it's a more comfortable place than many places in town,
Yeah.
does that resonate?
It would be easier as far as just like keep the hood off longer, not having to care about that kind of thing. I usually keep a firm eye on what my tail is doing too, so that's usually, I don't have to care about that either, or it can be out doing whatever. So
I mean,
Yeah,
would
we
that prompt
wouldn't
you
need
to
that now.
say anytime there's business with the shop or the church, maybe you want to be the one to handle it?
yeah, I mean, it would be easiest. I'd probably be nice. I'd probably volunteer as well. So to go over there and do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Just a nice place to let your guard down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we wouldn't have even batted an eye.
And then I'm guessing if Eric also takes up residence there, if you have like, I don't know, like if you're making watches, if you're making devices, things like that, we've likely purchased something for the rock quarry from you. You know, hey, do you have something that might be able to help us take care of this problem, that problem, get this taken care of, that kind of stuff? We've probably purchased some things from you.
Maybe he's been able to repair something that you
Yeah,
guys haven't been
a
able to
broken
get.
piece of machinery, scaffolding, something like that.
And I'll annoy you excessively.
Mm-hmm. So,
Oh, they're getting a headache.
So-
Oh, I love it.
but yeah, no, I would answer questions and things, but I'm usually very guarded when it comes to if it's the business, if it's the family thing, that I can tell you anything you want, but or if it's like I don't know, if it's magically oriented, that's usually fine. But if it gets to the nitpicky as far as like family dynamics, or if there's something around like that part, I button up real quick.
It's funny as hell. I can see myself. I see my character running up to Amara and go, Amara, and give me a big hug.
No. It would just be an invisible force. Just no.
Yeah.
How-
Remember,
how'd you
mage
do
hand
that?
is only 10 pounds, so it's only a little bit of resistance.
It would be. It would just be like
to just gently
the
move
mage
him to
hand.
the
Just,
side.
It's like keeping your wet dog back.
No. I like you, but no.
It's just weird how you just seem to just not be able to.
All right. Oh, is that what happened?
What type of martial art is this that you could deflect my hugs?
All right. So, since that's being done, hang on a second. We're just going to call it a widget. All right. So then, yeah, so you've had business dealings with,
both of those.
yes, and Jogra has actually done some tinker work and been able to repair something. Just a small widget that is either used for keeping track of time or quantities or something out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you brought it up in conversation. Droger said, that's something I can probably fix if you let me see it. And maybe you brought it to him out of skepticism at first, but you brought it and he was able to fix it. And
Yeah. We'll probably just continue to use the services for other things as they come up.
okay. Alrighty. And again, two-way street. So that's how you have run into our resident tiefling here. So what is something about your relationship with Elamar?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
So what is something about your relationship with Elamar? We've established that you sort of broke the ice with meeting each other by repairing just some kind of widget that they use out at the family quarry for mining. And it's something you were able to fix because it's something you're familiar with because it has to do with mining. So you've met and broken the ice there, but what is something about your relationship to Elamar?
To be honest, I think he's just going to be extremely infatuated with a tiefling brace.
Okay.
And the fact that he can just cast a spell, I'm sure he hasn't seen it yet, but I think it's going to make him more interested in his character, kind of
Well,
on
and
a
that's-
personal nature.
That's a good question. How flamboyant are you with your magic? I mean, do you use it all the time? Do you like, oh, and before I was leaving Mage Hand, I would like to buy this. Do you do that sort of thing, or do you keep it low key? Or
I keep it lower key than that. I'm not going to be crazy. If I can walk over and pick something up, I'll probably walk over and pick something up.
Okay.
But no, if I need to make a point or if I'm frustrated, things like that, I'm going to slam doors. I'm going to, I'm going to brush a hand and the door's going to slam, a cupboard's going to, close, that kind of thing. I'm going to
prestidigitate.
and yes, and use my thaumaturgy for good effect. So
Oh, that's not going to deter me. I'm sorry.
but no, if I get frustrated with certain things or if things don't go as they should be, I'll flip a switch.
I think I'd just be really, like I said, very fascinated with his tiefling heritage, and considering his family is both humans, I'm going to be even more curious of how he became
The
a
mechanics
tiefling.
of it makes sense.
I would be working quite well with them for whatever he needs to fix. I'll be like, yeah, let's go, and let's go fix it. See what you got.
Okay. So then,
I mean, I don't know if there's anything else I can really tie. Does that make sense?
No, that's perfect. That's exactly it. So it gives you guys something to interact and a margin of familiarity to start the game, which is exactly what we're after. All right. How about you and Tristan?
Well, unfortunately, I was at that circus when I witnessed all those people getting injured, and it was horrifying. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and wanted to understand how that magical essence that came about, or how that was it a failure? Was it on purpose? I want to know.
Yeah.
And his curious nature, he'll be actually going out and investigating that, and probably will bump into Tristan, realizing that one of the victims was his mother, and we would hit off right there and then, discussing I'll give him my relative arcane knowledge, as well as he gives me back his insight on what he's investigating. And of course, if he needs anything fixed, I'll fix that for him. But I think that we would have an interest in this case. In my free time, I would be happy to help him out. That'd be more of his somber side right there too.
Okay. All righty. So yeah. there we
Because
go.
I have a mother too, and you know what? If anybody hurt my mother, I'd be investigating very
What's your
thoroughly.
mom's name?
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
We'll also have to work on what we do and don't know about the circus.
Yeah.
We can work those details.
Well, I know the circus's name.
Would
Are
you
they
come up
gone?
with?
Madame Eckerd's Mythically Wondrous Traveling Circus.
That's a good ring.
You're gonna need to text me that, 'cause I'm not. But I will need that to work with it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why we're
I wanna
doing
go
it.
visit that now. Minus the possible injuries.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a warning at the door. I don't know. But
Welcome. Come on. Come all. Sign the waiver.
Why don't you mention waiver now?
All right. So, and then what are your sort of feelings or something that has stuck out with your interactions with Jogra?
Regarding the case, or
With Tristan, moving, like it's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
So you have a connection with Tristan because not only were you there, but you're also interested in finding out what happened. Now, Tristan, either how do you feel about that, or what are your feelings with somebody else trying to find out what's going on? Something, your feelings or connection back, reciprocated.
I appreciate his insight on the events that transpired. And we have not been able to come up with a good reason or method or explanation of the events.
nothing makes sense at all.
Yeah, it's the only thing that we both remember is that during this one performance from this supposed magician, because they introduced this person as a magician, the room went dark, it became really foggy, and then I was much younger, but I became scared and I dropped below the fog, and then I saw mythical spirits somehow fill in the room.
Might be a bit of necromancy that's going on in there. I was short up that I didn't get to the fog.
So we did discuss that, and I think he's a gnome, so he's shorter. But because he was below the fog, maybe because we were both below the fog, we weren't affected by the spirit magic, if you will.
I say we find the magician hanging by his toes and
Yeah.
tickle him until he talks.
But then after the fog dissipated, the performers were gone. The circus was empty, except for the victims.
Oh, so yours wasn't just the only person that was
Yeah.
caught in that.
Yeah, there's several
Okay,
people
Got
that,
it. Okay.
several of the viewers,
So the circus didn't pack up and leave town. The circus,
Disappeared.
they're vanished. Yeah.
Wow.
everybody in the circus, or just the people that were in the tent?
Well, the workers, the circus staff, they all disappeared after
The
that.
tents were still there.
The tents were there, but the staff,
Even the staff went missing.
yeah. But then there was,
Hmm.
and my connection to you is like, my mother is just, she's barely able to function. She just, her faculties are pretty much non-existent. Her mental faculties.
Okay.
And that happened in the
it sounds
town.
like there are other victims also.
Mhm.
So that's going to be a conundrum for me to figure out
I'm sure I would have heard of it.
why traditional healing isn't working, or
I'm sure most of the city probably
Yeah.
would have heard of that.
you know.
Herbs are able to maintain some level of
Mhm.
consciousness or
Yeah.
awareness, but not,
It's not actually healing the
Yeah.
issue. Yeah.
so there's no bodily injury. It's more lack of faculty.
Okay.
It's kind of a trance-like effect.
Okay.
So that's what I'm investigating.
Hmm.
And I did see some of
Did you
those.
investigate like as a profession before that?
No,
Okay.
I've been focused solely on that since I was much younger.
Okay.
So
How
he's
lo-
about 20.
How
I was
long
gonna
ago
say,
did
how
that
long ago
happen?
did it happen?
So about 6 years.
Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't at the performance, but
Yeah, I'm sure most everybody heard or something
So that
about
does
it.
mean then you've been in town for about that long.
Yeah, we'll have to adjust my thinking on that now.
Well, you can still be new to town, and you have a long lifespan.
yeah.
Too. So I arrived at 32.
There could also have been
longer
a reason for you to be in town for that, and then you've left and come back.
Okay.
You know, but even if, I mean, it'll give you a reason to be really comfortable around the rectory and the shop, and you know, already have tools and supplies and a workbench, and you know.
I'll rethink that. There's no reason why I can't be there for 6 some years, as I'm still tinkering and trying to improve on my craft.
And that's not, I mean,
Maybe
with
just
longer,
travel back and forth.
with longer
Traveling back and
lifespans and
forth.
stuff like that, 6 years really isn't.
I'll definitely
We don't
travel back
consider
and
it
say
long.
hi to mom and pa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And on this
Get some-
particular,
There's holidays and festivals and all that stuff.
yeah,
So
on this particular trip, you just kind of went to the circus.
Mm-hmm.
I said that could have also been a visit before you.
Oh yeah, that
That's
could have
true.
been a visit before you moved up, and maybe that was one of the curiosities that drove you to pick here to move.
Oh, that's a really good one.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really
That's
good
true.
I'm gonna go back and find out what happened.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and find my.
Oh, and you know
Oh,
what?
motivation to go back.
You probably
Yeah.
were
Permanently.
tagging along
Yeah.
with him when he came to pick up herbs, and that's how I ran into you. And hey, you know, you need a place to stay, and we do have rooms in the rectory and that kind of thing. You could have introduced us.
So what was your description of? We've got the established relationship of the healing supplies and the church trying to help your mother and actually like showing outward proactive concern for your mother, not just call me if anything changes, but checking on her every
Yeah.
couple weeks, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So again, just like the flip side with Eric, what was your either feeling connection or reciprocated connection to Terralind,
Just the
Terranild?
outward displays of empathy. I think it helped me cope better with my mother's situation and her compassion to help.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other family besides your mom?
No.
Then I probably would have made sure that I sent you home with food and, you know, maybe mended and darned some clothing
Mhm.
and just look after you a bit,
Yeah.
you know? Made sure that your own health and stuff were good.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, the shop is just a welcoming, comforting place.
All right. So, yeah, we'll keep this as sort of a source document. I will share it in the chat just so you guys can think about it. Feel free to elaborate more or collaborate on specific scenes that may have been important in the past for this. Maybe specific things that were said that resonated when you guys were helping each other with your investigation, or maybe that moment when you realized that people weren't just being polite, but you were actually completely welcome and nobody was giving you any kind of that, because I
Polite
imagine
disdain most everywhere else, I'm sure.
well, there's some of it, but not a lot,
disdain.
because people know who your parents are.
Yes.
And your
And I think
parents-
that's probably the only good grace that.
Right, which is why you haven't had a lot of awful
Yes.
circumstances happen in your past. But there may have been a moment where, because you're going to have a healthy skepticism about people being nice to you and whatnot, but there may have been a moment where something was exchanged or something was said where you realized, I can actually let my guard down here. Just things like that. You guys may want to work together, or just think on stuff like that.
Okay. Cool.
This gives everybody sort of a connection. Everybody knows each other, which is what it's supposed to establish. There will be a couple other things that we're going to do. We'll do it off camera, but I am going to send everybody the lines and veils sheets. And I will compile it and put it forward, because I'm not the only one that needs to know the lines. We all need to know sort of where to steer clear from. Just as an example, since it's obviously going to be on there, I have to stay away from spiders. So the whole group should probably just stay out of that lane. So, but you guys can't if you don't know, which is the whole point of the lines and veil sheets. So
If it's not ever going to be a 3D figure or a visual effect or something.
those are in a sealed box.
Right. So if it's not ever going to be something that's visual, then I can, deal with that.
Okay. Well,
differently.
we'll try to not do that, because it's no fun to make it uncomfortable for no good reason.
Yeah.
If it doesn't need to be a spider, then it's not going to be a spider. But again, me having a chupacabra, that's right. Chupacabra's fine.
The visual is more so hard for me to get around than it is just like
The
from
concept.
hearing about it or whatever,
Which was
find one of
amazing
the 6
when-
footers to step on it or
when
something.
Ray
or,
brought
you
me
know.
the figures that you sent over. I was sorting them and whatnot, and there's a beautiful, amazing spider figure that's as big as my hand.
Oh.
And I'm like, huh. So it's in a little box along with all of the driders and a couple of other spiders that were there.
Oh,
There's
no, the
I
weird-
mean,
there's about
Wiggles are not fond of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a home model.
Yeah, the Wiggles are not
you can
fond
look
of
at
that.
them.
Thanks.
I'll be happy to, but it's not in with the rest of the models.
I'm guessing
They're in a separate box that's taped shut, and it has Eric and Reva's name on it crossed out, and then just a little circle with a bunch of legs so that it's clear. Don't open this.
Don't open it.
Yeah. I'm a little bit further of my arachnophobia. I was able to paint a figure of a spider.
Oh, how did you hold it?
It was tough. It was very, very, very tough. And there's even times where I even open up that thing and there's that painted spider in there, and I get a cold sweat. It's like, oh, that's the freaking figure.
Well, you've also like straight up braved exposure theory to get yourself over exposure therapy, which
Yeah.
I don't recommend.
No, it's for me the exposure therapy was helpful. I still can't deal with live
And that's okay.
spiders.
But
when
I do the lines and veils, it will be consolidated so that everybody knows. With this group, I imagine there's not a lot of places that I'm going to take the game or that you're going to take the game. We're just not. That's going to be uncomfortable. We're just not that kind of group. So it's just best to have it in place, because it gives people an opportunity to say, "Hey, we've got a circus thing happening in the story. I don't want to deal with clowns." Cool. I can deal with that. Yeah, I'm just saying. It gives us everybody an
okay.
opportunity to
Yeah,
put it out
carnies are
there.
What about
Um,
classic sad clown?
I can't avoid it if I don't know.
No, it's like
Even that's like.
John Wayne Gacy was a classic.
So,
But what's interesting is like the jesters or like Baroque figures
Yeah.
are
Nothing.
not clowns. I don't know why it doesn't.
That's interesting because I think the same thing.
They're
is
not
it just like the
clowns.
odd?
it's like
is it
modern
just like
clowns.
No,
the
it's like
face
the red
paint?
nosed.
Face paint.
Yeah, like the I don't know. There must have been a clown or something that like absolutely scared the bejeebies out of me in the 80s or something because like Ronald McDonald kind of clown.
Even
Yeah.
Not okay.
And he
Even
that's
that
just a
clown's
weird
like,
that's just a weird like
Huh.
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, no,
what
clowns.
about normal
I'm-
face suit and shoes?
yeah, weird. Mm-mm.
No.
No, they're not. I don't have as visceral a reaction to them as I used to. Like in my 20s and especially my 20s and 30s, like that would make me. I can remember running into a clown like during Reno Rodeo or something like that, and like it almost made me catatonic. I must have
Really?
been like 19,
Even rodeo
Um,
clowns. Okay.
and it just.
Hi there, sweep the leg.
I just I punched one at when the haunted house was at the GSR. Because I had asked my sister, like, okay, so there's no clowns at this one, right? And she was like, no, they don't have that like as a specific exhibit, like it wasn't a thing or wasn't a theme or whatever. And we came out of the tunnel, and dude was like right here, and whack, like I just. No, it was like explosion and then took off. Thank God that, the guy was laughing and whatnot, but my sister was like, oh God, so I don't go to haunted houses because apparently that's my,
But I will send you the lines and
Reaction.
veils and just sort of have everybody send them back to me individually, and I'll
Yeah.
consolidate them just so we know where the lines are to keep everybody
Yeah.
on the same page.
so yeah, the clowns that's not really a visceral reaction for me anymore. I think
It's
they're
okay.
creepy.
Don't put it on the list then, because
But,
we know we've got a circus happening at some
Yeah,
point.
so that part's fine. The only on a trigger I
But,
have
like
would be
circus
like
workers
visual
and carnies are fine.
spiders, like anywhere.
But it's a
Um,
D&D circus, so no clowns.
Yeah.
Mythical circus, no clowns.
Carnies and trapeze and all those workers.
The clowns are the ones that juggle the knives and axes.
Yeah.
And they're more Baroque.
All right. So before we're started full steam, and so that I can develop what's going on ahead of time, I am going to send you guys 2 pieces of homework. It'll be the lines and veils thing, and there's going to be another. It's a worksheet type thing or a set of questions, and it's called knives. Basically, I want you guys to give me some things that I can essentially use against your character. That are related to story things or character things that you want to pursue. Things about your parents, things about your mom, maybe things about what you're trying to do in the church and what might be problematic with it. And maybe things you have with trying to set out on your own, prove yourself, that kind of thing. Just sort of, I don't like the fact that it uses the term knives because it's supposed to be sticking with them, but it's give me a couple of things that you would like to see for your own character development. Just be thinking about things you would like to pursue. Keep in mind we're going to sort of stay local for a little bit, but I'm not going to anchor you guys to Infilter. This is just where we're starting. So we may be getting to anything that you have locally, like your mom or your church can be all over the place. Really, actually, everything else can sort of spread wider. But the pursuit of what happened to your mom, if those people are still around or something nefarious did happen, could take you outside as well. But the things that you guys would sort of like to have come up that may or may not be good for your character. I don't want to hear that you want to find a bag of holding. Here's the things that, you know what I mean? It's not a wish list. It's designed for character conflict and character development. So just some stuff that might be troublesome for your character or are things that we can use to pursue who your character is. So both of those I'll get the forms that I want to use. I will get to you guys in Discord and just in private message and just fill them out and send them back. All right. So does this is the first time I've used this sort of, and I didn't even use it verbatim this time, but in a mechanical sense rather than just let's establish some connections and sitting and talking. Does this feel like it helped at all?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. So given that we got a little bit of a slow start and it's all been homework so far, it's not too bad for timing. Do we want to try to get into actually getting started?